The history of India is fascinating. It's not only about the history, even the etymology and the way the names originated fascinates me and many of you. So one of these facts which seems to be very interesting but normally not being discussed much across the documents is a third name of this nation. We all know that this nation is to be known as Bharat, and after it was known as India. But beyond that, beyond Bharat and India, 1,000 years back, this nation had a different name. A name which is being mentioned in the documents of Sumerians, and in Mesopotamia and across the world, the countries used to know us in a different name. This name called as Meluha, Meluha, which means a highland country, and the word Meluha is a Proto-Dravidian word which came from a word called Mel-Akam. I'm just reading from my note. It's called Mel-Akam, which means highland country, and this particular word was the one which was used to indicate the IVC, Indus Valley Civilization. According to a Finnish Indologist, Asko Parpola, this particular name was popular a long time back, before 17th century, and this came from multiple origins, and one of the origin which very interestingly denotes to a Sanskrit word which we still use in India. We use that word. The word is Mlecha. Mlecha is a word, it's a Pali word. It's come from Pali, pre-Sanskrit era Pali. Mlecha is a Pali word, and then before that, Prakrit, in the Prakrit language, it was called as Milesha. How we use Mlecha today? Mlecha is basically a word which is being indicated for outsiders, somebody who is outsider, the barbarians, somebody who is basically a non-Vedic civilization, comes from a non-Vedic civilization. So the whole population, the whole civilization is to be divided into two connotations. One is the Vedic civilization, who follows Vedic spiritual practices, and non-Vedic civilizations. And Mlecha for long used to be used even in the context of identifying British or French or anybody. The Westerners, when came in India, they used to be also called Mlecho or Mlecha. Also, apart from them, Mlecha was used to indicate different tribes. We used to have called Panchagana, five tribal communities, indicating them coming from outside, and they were also being called as Mlecha. For example, one of them are Pahlavas. Pahlavas are not Pallavas. Pallavas are different, Pahlavas are different. Pallavas being tribe. Pallavas, Huns, even we have Shakas, all of them, the five different ganas or five different groups used to be called as Mlechas. Now, interestingly, Mlecha is still existing. Mlecha is still used in multiple contexts. So the name of Meluha is not being used. We don't call India as Meluha. Nobody called Meluha, India as Meluha. But if you go back to the documents of Sumerians, the Meluha is being mentioned multiple times. For example, Sargon of Akkad, one of the cylinders where the scriptures were written. In Sargon of Akkad, it's written, it is 2334 to 2279 AD. It was written that the ships came from Meluha, and there was a indication that the ships used to come with multiple materials. For example, from India, we used to send indigos, we used to send the sesame oil, and we also used to send different colored stones, especially a red color stone, and gold dust, obviously. The sesame oil, that seed sesame, was indicated with ilu, a word called ilu. Now in South Indian languages, the sesame seed is called as El or Elu still today. And that's a very interesting identification or indication on how the wordings came from where. Apart from Meluha, there used to be other two places from where or with whom Sumerians used to deal. One group of people used to come in Sumer to exchange products or import-export was from UAE, and the other group used to be from the Persian Gulf and then from India. So these three were the segments from where Sumerians used to deal at one time. Many things we used to export from here, from the Indus Valley civilization, but we normally imported very less things. And one of the very important thing what used to import from abroad used to be a bitumen or tar, because that's something which used to be used as a waterproofing material, and that we used to get from outside. But apart from that, most of the things we used to export from here. Interesting, the name Meluha was not used after 1760 BC. After 1760 BC, the word Meluha was never used. Only we have a mention of a Meluha dog which was gifted to the king of Sumer as a exchange gift at one time. So the word Meluha is used till 1760 BC, and after that maybe there's a possibility that the wordings and then the way they used to call us changed. So please read more about Meluha, please read about India, please read about how the Indian knowledge is being spent. If you have any inquiries about it, if you have an interesting discussion to do with me, please get in touch with me. My name is Kaustav Sengupta. I am a professor, an academician. Namaskar.